All right, so we are back live again, and I am going to answer a couple more questions that came up in previous videos. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend so far. On the last video, one of the supporting members for this channel, and a big thank you to you, Nathan Cohen, I believe is how you pronounce your last name, or Cohen's. Thank you for being a supporting member for this channel. I really appreciate it. Every supporting member makes a big difference, and I appreciate all of you, so thank you. Yes, so this supporting member, Nathan Cohen's, left the following question. Basically, he was saying that he's learning the 10 form, 24 form, and his next goal is to move on to the 108 form. So congrats on that. That's pretty exciting. But he had a question if there's a sword form that goes along with the 24 form or the 108 form. And there's not a, I want to make sure I answer the right question, the question that you're asking, not the question that I think you're asking. So I may answer it a couple different ways here. One is there's not a Taiji 24 form sword form. Not that there's not. I'm sure someone has come up with one somewhere. There's not kind of a standardized form, not a well-known form. That's the Taiji 24 sword form. Same with the 108. So typically the first form that a lot of people learn when they're learning Tai Chi sword is the 32 form, at least for Yang style. And that is basically just a chopped down version, no pun intended, of the 67 form, which is kind of the traditional long form. Sometimes that's counted as 54 movements. Don't worry about the numbers so much right now, but the 32 form is typically the first form that a lot of people learn. Just because it's shorter, kind of the same reason that people start with like the 24 form instead of the 108 form, because if you start with the 24 form, it's like bite-sized compared to a traditional long form that takes forever to learn. So that's one place that you could start. I don't have any videos of the 32 form available. I think the first short form that I learned, or shorter form, was the 42 form, if I remember correctly. That was the first one that I learned as I was learning Taiji sword. And I don't have any videos of that. I actually haven't even practiced the 42 form in years. After I learned the 67 form, or what's sometimes counted as the 54 form, which is the traditional kind of Yang style long form for the sword, the straight sword, I didn't really bother with the shorter forms that I had learned. I just kind of let those go and stuck with the long form. So I don't have videos or any plans to make videos for a shorter sword form at the moment, but I am planning to make a series for the 67 sword form. So that's on its way at some point in the future, although I wouldn't hold your breath for that one because it may be a little while before I get to it. So I hope that answered your question. There's not a form that goes with those two forms necessarily, but it would probably be the 32 form that would be the first one that you pick up. So yeah, that's that. And again, thank you for being a supporting member. The other thing I wanted to mention, there was someone else, Davey J, who left a message or a comment on the previous video talking about techniques or skill of practitioners. And kind of the question in the last video was relating to pivoting the foot and how that may or may not put the knee at risk if you're pivoting on the ball of the foot. And the comment was basically, let me see if I can make this so I can see it here. I wish I had a way to share my screen with you guys so you could just see it directly, but I don't have that fancy technology yet. So we're going to stick with me just summarizing the question or the comment. So the comment from Davey J was basically kind of summarizing what I was saying in a way, just basically saying, the message is that poor technique is what increases increases the risk of knee injury. And I completely agree with that. Yes, poor technique is definitely it. Says alignment is key, and unfortunately that's not emphasized enough in classes. I completely agree that it could be emphasized more. I completely agree that it is key. If you don't have good alignment, you're putting yourself at risk in all kinds of ways. And while Tai Chi is generally really safe to do, it is possible to hurt yourself doing Tai Chi, and poor alignment is one of the main ways of doing that. So there's that. Totally agree. Let's see. Proper technique minimizes ground reaction force and reduces this risk. Totally agree. And it's notable that well-trained players, the nature of the surface of the floor and the footwear has a negligible my words aren't working. I apologize. It basically has little impact on someone's ability to pivot. And so I agree with that too. But I wanted to also clarify what my point. Maybe I didn't say it clearly enough in the previous video. Anyway, I appreciate David J's comment. I think that this person is correct, and it just kind of made me want to clarify something that I said as well. Um, as far as the footwear goes, it's true that when you have good technique, when you're skilled, when you know what you're doing, the ability to pivot isn't really limited by the stickiness of the floor or the shoe that you're wearing. You can still pivot. What I was kind of getting at more there was, yes, you can pivot, but because there's that increased resistance between the two surfaces, if your technique isn't really on point, you just increase the risk of a potential injury. That's all I was getting at there. So it doesn't mean you're definitely going to hurt yourself. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to pivot. It just means that if the two things are gripping a little too hard toward one another, then you're just increasing the amount of stress that you're putting on the body when you do that pivot, and the risk of an injury increases. That risk is, of course, decreased by good technique. That's great. But I also wanted to bring up the point that, and I'm not saying this is what Davy J was saying in their comment, but there is also this idea that if you have perfect technique, you're kind of, at least I've encountered this in some martial arts circles and some Tai Chi circles, is that, um, if you just have good enough technique, you're kind of bulletproof. And I wanted to bring that up because, and I'm not saying, again, that's not necessarily what Davy J was saying, but there is always risk that you can't account for. There's always variables that you can't do completely away with good technique. So that's why I make comments about, like, when you're training, try to make your shoes and the floor surface that you're training on be something that's more conducive to your training. Really focus on good technique. Go easy. Don't do things that are, that feel unstable. Really take your time and protect your body, protect your joints, because all you can do is minimize risk. And even if you have perfect technique, there could be something that you didn't account for and you could still end up with an injury. So just minimize risk. That's kind of my point there. And even if you have perfect technique, it doesn't mean you're bulletproof. You're still human and injuries can still happen. So keep that in mind. So those are kind of my main points that I wanted to get at today as far as comments that were left on videos, addressing questions. If anyone watching has any additional questions, I am happy to answer those here now. I will see if there's any additional comments on videos that need addressing. Let's see. I think those are the really recent ones. Cool. All right. And while I'm here, I'm also going to quickly address kind of where I've been for the past month or two, because I know I was starting to post videos pretty regularly, and that kind of dropped off pretty quickly for a while. And now I'm back. And it was kind of unfortunate because right before I kind of wasn't able to post regularly, I had posted something about videos that I was planning to do and posting regularly again and all this. And then, of course, it didn't happen. And that was a little disappointing for me and potentially disappointing for you all too. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of where I've been. It's not that I lost interest in posting or that I'm not planning to post videos. Obviously, I'm here chatting. Yeah, just some things happened that were outside of my control. Uh, it was a good end of a year, but there were some definitely unexpected twists that pulled me away from being able to do these videos, um, and created a few other hurdles in life in general for me. So things are starting to smooth out. And as you can see, I'm back to put videos up. I'm back to help people learn Tai Chi as best I can through this uh, YouTube medium. But yeah, so basically it was just some unforeseen circumstances and things were not going very smoothly, but things are smoothing out. So that's good news. I am back. Please let me know if there are series that you're interested in. Kind of what I'm doing right now is I have an idea of the series that I'm wanting to do, the information that I'm wanting to get out there, and there's kind of a structure to it, at least in my mind. Hopefully, it seems somewhat structured to you all too. So I have things that I'm definitely working on, but I am always open to suggestions to things that you all would like to hear or would like to learn. So please let me know those things. Right now, I had filmed before things went a little cattywampus toward the end of last year. I had filmed several more videos for the Taiji 10 form series. And unfortunately, the microphone that I've used it before in previous videos, did just fine. But for these videos, for some reason, it just messed up a lot. And the sound was so bad. Like I couldn't fix it, so I basically had to get rid of those videos and start over with those videos. So, just the other day, I was able to film a few more videos, so more videos for the 10 form series are on the way, and those should be up within the next week or 2, start posting those videos. So, that's good news for those of you who are wanting to learn the 10 form and are wondering where the rest of the videos are, they're on the way. So, those are the updates I have for you. That's a little backstory of where I went. Obviously, I'm not going to give too many details, but I did want to let you kind of have an idea of what was going on there. I don't see any questions coming in, so I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly here. If there are any questions, drop them in the comments. Um, it seems like from the comments that I've received on the previous videos, this seems like it's a pretty good way to answer questions for you all. And I'm happy to keep doing this to address your questions. So if we don't have any questions during this actual live stream, just put them in the comments after the video, and I'll probably do a live stream again soon to answer those. So, anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you. I appreciate your enthusiasm about Tai Chi and Qigong and your support of this channel. I wish you all the best, and I may do a live stream tomorrow, maybe not. So, stay tuned for that. Take care, all.